Well, good morning and welcome to another week on my allotment. Not been up here a great deal this week, quite busy at work. But what I have done when I've been here is just more of the same, more cutting back of the dying vegetation from the squashes. I've been moving the carrot tubs. I've had a problem with the carrots. The carrots have been very good this year, but towards the end of the season they've suffered really badly with carrot fly. So next year I'm going to try is it resistor fly? I think that's a variety. I'm going to give that a go, and I am definitely going to put mesh, carrot fly resistant mesh, over the tubs. One of my subscribers suggested raising the tubs up on pallets, which I think is an excellent idea, and if I can get hold of some more pallets I might just do that. But that's something for the future. But yeah, I've been moving the tubs, cutting back, and I've had a happy coincidence. Where I grew my sweet peas this year, I allowed them to dry so that I could save the seed, which I did. But when I pulled the plants out and shoved them on the compost heap, I've obviously dropped some of the seed pods, which germinated. So the bed where they were was full of small plants. So if I silhouette them, I've got a couple of trays of these plants. So I've got nearly 20 sweet pea plants already germinated. They'll go in the greenhouse at home and overwinter, hopefully. That's quite, I mean, it's a happy coincidence and a complete accident for me. But if I can remember that, I'll do that every year. All this, you know, messing about with pots and seed and putting 3 seeds in a pot and all that. You don't have to do any of that. You just agitate the plants when you pull them out and they do it themselves. Anyway, as you completely ignore me and watch the sunrise behind me, there, I'm going to go back in the shed, enjoy the heat of the fire, have another brew, and then think about doing some work. So you're very welcome. The birdhouse gourds, the plants themselves are really dying back now. They look awful. But I'm going to leave the fruit on for another couple of weeks at least. I cut one off a couple of weeks back just to take a photograph of it. And it's in the shed at the top of the allotment, and it started to rot off at the stalk. So that goes to prove that if you cut them off too early, there's a really good chance of rotting. So I'm not going to make the mistake with the rest of them. Not that I'm sure of these things. Winter must be coming. Well, there's actually nothing to see, but that is a bed full of garlic topodrome. I've heard of that one before. It's another soft neck. So yeah, in a week or two I hope to see some little shoots of green. We are having quite warm temperatures at the moment. Even the night times aren't that cold yet. Maybe that's why the asparagus, which has just gone wild, just isn't yellowing up at all yet. But when it does start to, I shall cut it to the ground. But no sign of it going over yet. And here I've laid out the simple design of my one onion bed this year. Normally I have 3 or 4 full beds of onions because I space them well out to allow me to hoe between them. But as you will know if you watch my channel, I had a complaint from the boss that the onions were just too big this year. So what I've got here is, you can see up there, along and back down, in there, that stretch there, are 100 onion sets, 50 red, 50 white, and then there's a small channel there which is for my foot. So when I hand weed this, I have 1 foot there, 1 foot there, and I can move up and down that bed and hand weed it. I can get another 100 in here, and they're already planted in multi-cell trays in the greenhouse at home. And again, a foot there and a foot there, and I can weed that. And then I'm going to get another 100 there, and again, you see what I'm doing here. And that's the plan. So instead of 3 or 4 beds, I've got 1. So we'll see how that works next year. Hopefully no complaints. Hopefully. It really is your classic autumnal morning. We had really heavy rain in the night. It woke me up, thrashing against the window in the bedroom. So I know it was heavy, and the 2 main tubs off the sheds are full, the water barrels. So it was heavy rain. So everywhere you walk, you touch against something and you get soaked. But it is a beautiful morning. I've had to try and close the blinds a bit because whilst the sun is very welcome and I don't want to complain because it's beautiful, it is rather blinding, so excuse the light. But I thought I'd share a few. I was watching, I shouldn't really admit this, should I? I was watching one of my old videos. I wanted to look back and see when last year I harvested and cut the butternuts. So I looked at a video from a year ago and sat watching myself. Anyway, and I did some quotes and I thought, that's a good idea, they're quite good. I should do that again, so I'm going to. I wish there was a way I could convey to you just how wonderful it is to come out of that chilly morning, as beautiful as it is, and come in the shed and you're hit by a wall of heat. Even standing down the bottom of the plot, looking back up and seeing the smoke billowing out from the chimney, the stovepipe, draws me in, It's lovely. If you've got an allotment, get yourself a stove in your shed. Right, so some quotes, just to stimulate thought, and after a few, a little laughter perhaps. This is one that's very pertinent to me as I get older. For every minute you are angry, you lose 60 seconds of happiness. Lost a few of those over my years. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Ooh, that's deep, isn't it? If you're serious about changing your life, you will find a way. If you're not, you'll find an excuse. You know, even in the military, which is a sort of a positive can-do organisation, both then and in my personal life, I have found it very frustrating dealing with people who can always find an excuse not to do things. So many times I sort of disobeyed orders and just did it because I knew it needed doing. A good example of that was when the police approached. I was the diving officer of a regiment out near East Anglia, and at the time of the Soham murders, I can't remember if I've said this before. I was approached as a diving officer by the civil police to help search some local quarries where they were looking for the two girls who eventually, obviously, were found. So I went to my commanding officer, who put me onto the regimental 2IC, who came up with a series of reasons for us not to do it. And I thought, this is madness. We want to find those girls, hopefully alive, but we need to eliminate the lakes to narrow down the search areas. So in the end, I just completely ignored him. I got the diving team together and we went and we met up with the police and they gave us the areas to search and we cracked on. And we came back into the unit and I'm not sure he ever found out. I got away with that one. But yeah, you can always find an excuse not to do things. There is no passion to be found in playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of. Nelson Mandela. Jesus Christ, he's a man who should know. You must have long-term goals to keep from being frustrated by short-term failures. Everyone you will ever meet knows something you don't. I do think nowadays everyone's very quick to try and eliminate people around them that don't say what they want to hear. I think, that's why nature gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. You never learn anything when you're talking. I know what you're thinking. I do shut up occasionally. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Yeah, good one. These are slightly tongue-in-cheek now, slightly more humorous. You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. I mean, that's a very clever way of saying, live your life. And of course, I think it was Roosevelt's wife that said, do something every day that scares you. And, whilst maybe not scare you, but I think that's right, that if in your life you have moments when the old heart's going, then that's good for you. Test yourself, push yourself. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Then quit. There's no use being a fool about it. It's Groucho Marx. He was a clever man. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be someone. Now I realise I should have been more specific. I remember talking to a lady up here actually, and she works in education, and she said, I always tell my children, in her class, they're special. And I remember saying to her, they can't all be special. The meaning of special is that you stand out. They can't all stand out. I don't think that went down well. Whatever women do, they must do twice as well as men to be thought of as half as good. Luckily, this is not difficult. When you're in jail, a good friend will be trying to bail you out. A best friend will be in the cell next to you saying, damn, that was fun. My friends tell me I have an intimacy problem, but they don't really know me. I love that one. Yes, a little thoughtfulness and light humour. Cheers. Oh, it's hot. You may remember I said that I watched Gardener's World a few weeks ago and Monty Don was sowing some dwarf French beans, and he says there's just time to get a crop before the winter sets in. And I had my doubts, but I thought, well, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's give it a go. So I copied him and I've planted these, I sowed these seeds, and they're doing okay. And I'm happy to report, I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but the flowers are have gone over and they're left with tiny little French beans. So I may just get a crop. Monty Don was right all along. Excellent. This dahlia has been outstanding all summer long. And because I've only got the one, it's very easy to deadhead. And because I'm deadheading it religiously, it just keeps on flowering. Absolutely wonderful. I may cut some of those today and take them home for my nearest and dearest. Well, would you believe it? I may just get a strawberry or two. Thought it's been a while since I did any health stuff, and I've done quite a bit from How Not to Die, but as it's quite permanent, I know a couple of people at the moment. One is a customer and the other is a friend who have heart disease. They both had heart attacks. I've mentioned it before, and they're both on, well, nearly half a dozen medications, and you know, you've got to be careful, haven't you, when it's a friend. You know, one of them, I said, look, because I'm your friend, I'm going to be blunt, and I was, and you know, he'll deal with that, as you know, he'll carry on doing what he's doing. He's having the conventional treatment, he'll have the conventional outcome, and you know, part of my life as I get older and people around me get older, you start to have to watch people deteriorate, knowing that it's reversible in most cases, that you can do something about it. But people don't want to. They, you know, they prefer the conventional system, and that's their right, of course. But anyway, heart disease is reversible. It's never too late. Sorry, it's never too early to start eating healthfully, but is it ever too late? Such lifestyle medicine pioneers as Nathan Pritikin, Dean Ornish and Caldwell Esselstyn took patients with advanced heart disease and put them on the kind of plant-based diets followed by Asian and African populations who didn't suffer from heart disease. Their hope was that a healthy enough diet would stop the disease process and keep it from progressing further. But instead, something miraculous happened. Their patients' heart disease started to reverse. These patients were getting better. As soon as they stopped eating an artery-clogging diet, their bodies were able to start dissolving away some of the plaque that had built up. Arteries opened up without drugs or surgeries, even in some cases of patients with severe triple vessel heart disease. This suggests their bodies wanted to heal all along, but were just never given the chance. Let me share with you what has been called the best kept secret in medicine. Given the right conditions, the body heals itself. If you whack your shin really hard on a coffee table, it can get red, swollen and painful. But your skin will heal naturally if you just stand back and let your body work its magic. But what if you keep whacking it in the same place 3 times a day, say at breakfast, lunch and dinner? It would never heal. You could go to your doctor and complain that your shin hurts. No problem, he or she might say, whipping out a pad to write you a prescription for painkillers. You go back home, still whacking your shin 3 times a day, but the pain pills would make it feel much better. Thank heavens for modern medicine. That's what happens when people take nitroglycerine for chest pain. Medicine can offer tremendous relief, but it's not doing anything to treat the underlying cause. Your body wants to regain its health if you let it. But if you keep re-injuring yourself 3 times a day, you interrupt the healing process. Consider smoking and lung cancer risk. One of the most amazing things I learned in medical school was that within about 15 years of stopping smoking, your lung cancer risk approaches that of a lifelong non-smoker. Your lungs can clear out all that tar build-up and eventually it's almost as if you never smoked at all. Your body wants to be healthy, and every night of your smoking life, as you fall asleep, the healing process is restarted until, bang, you light up your first cigarette the next morning. Just as you can re-injure your lungs with every puff, you can re-injure your arteries with every bite. You can choose moderation and hit yourself with a smaller hammer. But why beat yourself up at all? You can choose to stop damaging yourself, get out of your own way, and let your body's natural healing process bring you back to health. You know, and that's the tragedy. These people are having stents and bypasses, none of which, I mean, they might be life-saving at the time, but none of which will change the outcome of the disease. The disease will progress, and eventually it will kill these 2 fellas. Yeah. Anyway, that's up to them. Yeah, let's do some stuff from the QI book. Always fascinating. Posting a letter from London to Edinburgh in 1818 cost as much as the daily wage. I saw a thing on YouTube, some of these old historic photographs, and there was a postman with a small child in his bag, and back in the day, I don't know the dates, it was legal and a common practice to send children in the post. Yeah, you could send them across the country, you know, from one family member to another, I suggest. But yeah, you could send children in the post. Postage was originally paid by the person receiving the letter, not the sender. In 1909, 2 suffragettes posted themselves to 10 Downing Street to try to get an audience with the Prime Minister. The crowd that greeted Tony Blair when he first entered Downing Street had been bussed in. The less I say about that man, the better. But that doesn't surprise me. Rent a crowd. The winning tree in the annual competition of the British Christmas Tree Growers Association is displayed outside number 10, and the runner-up goes inside. The official names of Scotland's salt spreading trucks include Sir Andy Flurry, Ready Spready Go, and Gritty Gritty Bang Bang. Bin lorries in Taiwan play music to alert residents to bring out their rubbish. 7% of the land in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, is covered in rubbish dumps. There are more than 180 tons of rubbish on the moon. Yeah, maybe those aren't quite so interesting. Yeah. Oh, the Bayeux tapestry is not a tapestry. Well, what the hell is it then? Yeah, I don't know. Anybody know what the Bayeux tapestry is? I know it's in Bayeux because I've seen it. Anyway, quite interesting. Well, I don't know what it is, but there's definitely something going on with a load of tractors. There are hundreds and hundreds of tractors going up around the edge of the field and coming down here. Boys and their toys. Hundreds of them. Well, it's mid-afternoon. I've had a good day. I have to be honest, it's not been that productive. I've felt really lethargic and tired. It's been a beautiful day. It's over 20 degrees right now. So I haven't really achieved a great deal. I stood for a while and watched those tractors. That was peculiar. I wasn't expecting that. And all the tractors are parked down on the lower field now, and all the fellas are walking up and down looking at each other's tractors. Each to their own. So thanks for joining me. I shall probably leave it a fortnight now till my next episode, because things are slowing up. But I've got one wigwam of runner beans left to clear. And then that's all of that sort well, so that'll be all the beans gone. I've got all my seeds that I need, and then what I've got left to clear is the rhubarb, which is all sagging and dropping, and then the gourd birdhouse, which I want to leave on the plant as long as possible. The asparagus as and when it goes yellow and off colour, and then there's a few butternut squashes lying around the place, so they've still got to be cleared. But I'm very, very happy with the way things are. It's all ticking along nicely. I've got lots and lots of firewood, and I have a fire this morning, but by 9 o'clock I let it burn out because it's just too warm in here. And like I say, it's been a glorious day, over 20 degrees. The sun has not stopped shining. It's been marvellous. So I will see you in a fortnight. Until then, take care, look after yourself. Bye for now.